Hello YouTube and the Tribe of the Horror Realm. Flying solo at this very moment. There's probably 100 different things I could get myself into instead of doing a video without her around. Go figure. Anyhow, this is a quick review on a movie I picked up a few weeks ago and finally got to sit down and watch them. And it was something I was looking forward to checking out, and I figured I'd like to pass on some of the info on it. It happens to be the Naked Torture Show. It's a two-movie collection. You got Flesh Feast from 1970 and Three on a Meathook, 1973. Three on a Meathook was one of those movies that I wanted to see so bad back in the day, the VHS era. But the video stores I had never carried it. I'd only seen it on advertisements and such. And I mean, how would you not want to see something that had the word Meathook in the friggin' title, especially with that poster art? Flesh Feast as well had this great poster art with this rotting corpse and taglines about how the flesh-eating maggots and this or that. It was just really sensational. So we finally got to watch them, and let me tackle the first one, Flesh Feast. Great poster, great tagline. Sorely missed the mark with the film. The movie itself has a bit of a curiosity factor to it. Now, back in the 40s and into the 50s, the name Veronica Lake was huge. She was a major sex symbol. She was like a gem in movies. She was just, I don't know how I could pick someone out, a modern day person that would equate to the Veronica Lake standard of the 40s and 50s. But needless to say, after a period of time, Hollywood cast her out a bit, and she had battles with alcoholism, ended up having to get jobs as a waitress and such. Then she finally decided to get back into the business, and what does she do for her return to the silver screen? Flesh Feast. Not the best decision on her part. Probably needed a better agent. By this point, Veronica was in her 50s, but when you see the film, she looks a bit older. It looks like she was, run hard and put away wet. And unfortunately for her, her comeback pretty much ended with this film, as she passed away a couple years later. She's actually been credited in the film as an executive producer as well, so there was rumors that she had actually used the money from her autobiography to fund this film. As far as where this money went, it certainly didn't go into production value. The house itself, it looks like it was filmed in a single house with some rooms like doubling for the hospital and for the mad scientist laboratory. Yeah, it's pretty pitiful. As far as the story goes, it gets really convoluted because I don't think they ever really had an idea of what they wanted to do with it. It has to do with the scientist played by Veronica Lake. She has a experiment where these flesh-eating maggots are used to restore youth to someone. How that's feasible, who knows? But let's just go with it. Anyhow, this method becomes something that's targeted by undesirable forces in the form of what appears to be as Cuban neo-Nazis. Again, let's just go with it. The whole film has a lot of standing around, talking, and people giving the hairy eyeball to each other as they try to be underhanded. Now, the reason for the neo-Nazis wanting this miraculous cure to bring back vitality is they have this old, decrepit old man who wants to be restored to his youth so he can take his Third Reich and take over the world. See right there? Yep, it's the Fuhrer. So, in Florida, a bunch of Cuban and Hispanic neo-Nazis brought a guy, surviving old Adolf Hitler, to restore his vitality through flesh-eating maggots. Alright, we no longer have to kind of go with it. It was just pretty much a bad film. If you're into 70s exploitation, I'm like any other fool that likes his exploitation films. It's just kind of a rough one to watch. It's just maybe if you take it as a lesson in poor filmmaking and you want to just laugh at it, go right ahead. The quality of this was really bad. It was definitely culled from like an old VHS source material. The couple of the Bela Lugosi movies we recently reviewed looked far better picture quality than this one from 1970. Well, the second movie was 3 on a Meathook, and this was the one I really wanted to see because there were these gory scenes that looked like something out of like a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie, and there was one picture where you can see that right there. Girl gets beheaded right there with the axe. Just like, wow, that ought to be pretty cool. So, this was one of those films that was definitely based off of the old Ed Gein storylines. 4 girls get broken down on a country road, and a young kid named Billy happens to come by, and he offers them sanctuary at his home where he and his father stay. Father really wants nothing to do with them. Doesn't think they should be there. He tells him to bring them back. He warns the kid, Billy, you know how you are, what happens to you when you're around women. And sure enough, the next morning, we find 4 girls butchered, and Billy has no recollection of doing this crime. It is one of those films. One of the funny things about it was that this film was probably just over an hour long. Not much to it. Yet, in 2 different points in this film, they just went with scenery and just music. So this script, they couldn't even write a script that would last that long. They had to choose scenery with 2 musical interludes. So it was pretty dreadful. Some of the kills, they weren't bad. They definitely low budget. Do they have meat hooks in them? Sure. Very brief scenes, so you're pretty much set through about 55 minutes for the one brief scene with the people on the meat hook. I'm not going to give away their ending, though it does become a little telegraphed. But it wasn't the best transfer either. It was better than Flex Feast. But overall, was kind of disappointed in them. Maybe because my anticipation was a lot greater because I had wanted to see this thing since I was a kid. So the next time I check it out, I'll take it with a grain of salt and then view them as a comedy more than a 70s gore fest film. So and how they came up with Naked Torture Show, I don't know, because there really wasn't a lot of nudity, a little bit, and not a heck of a lot of torturing. So yeah, that's it. Not the best one. I think you could probably do better, but if you're into 70s exploitation films, hey, who am I to say? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.